Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if this is your first time here. I'm Jaisha. In this video, I am going to be sharing with you 5 things that I did to regrow my hair after my big chop, and also some important things, some important lessons that I learned along the way. Now, my big chop was pre-YouTube. Well, at least before my YouTube era, so there aren't really videos for you to follow the journey, but I am going to include pictures so that you can see different stages of the journey. So a little background before I get into these tips. I'm not going to go through my life hair journey. We're going back maybe just about 10 years or so. So I was a straight hair natural for a long time. I used to be in a Dominican hair salon every week, every other week, and if you know anything about those washing sets in a Dominican salon, it's a lot of heat on your hair. So you're going under the hooded dryer, blow dryer, flat iron, curling iron, and I was also putting a flat iron on my hair every day in between trips to the salon. Don't ask me why. I mean, I know why. I wanted my hair bone straight at all times. No curl, no wave, no body, bone straight is what I wanted at all times. My hair got to a point where it was just straight on its own. Like, it wasn't getting frizzy anymore. Even when my hair was wet, it was like the curls were gone. My hair was just straight. And I know these new stylists like to call that heat trained hair, but it's really called heat damage. There is no such thing as heat training your hair. You are just damaging your curls in order for your hair to stay straight on its own. And I mean, if you don't want the option to wear your curls, you only want to wear your hair straight, that's fine, but we're gonna call it what it is. That cuticle is damaged. And that doesn't mean that it's not long or it won't grow. It just means your cuticle is damaged and your natural curls are not going to be there. So about 2015-ish, I wanted to start wearing my hair curly. And when I tried to, I couldn't because of how much damage my hair had. So I stopped using heat on my hair, and then I contemplated for like maybe a year or so because it was like, I didn't just want to chop off all my hair, but ultimately I decided starting fresh was the best option, because dealing with multiple textures in your hair, dealing with damage, it wasn't working. And in that whole time when I wasn't using heat, there really wasn't much that I could do to my hair. My hair was pretty much in a bun almost every day. And then I finally came to the decision to just start fresh, cut it all off, and that was the best decision that I have ever made for my hair personally. And anytime someone is contemplating whether they want a big chop or not, I always say do it. Like, just go for it. It's gonna grow back, it's gonna be fine, you're gonna look amazing. I feel like starting fresh is the best option. So if you are thinking about it and you don't know, this is it. Do it. Now let's get into the actual big chop and my 5 tips on how I regrew my hair back to what you see right now, and just pretty much my healthy hair journey. Because like I said, I was natural before, but I was not focused on the health of my hair at all until I cut it all off. So June 9th, 2016, I chopped all of my hair off. My first tip is to go to a professional if you want to big chop. It's a pretty big decision to cut all of your hair off, and a professional is going to have the tools and the experience to get you right. I chose a curly hair salon because, again, at this time I was not using heat on my hair, so the salon did not have any blow dryers or flat irons or anything like that. I got a curly cut for my big chop. I wanted someone that could not only guide me with my curls because I didn't know how to care for them just yet, but also cut my hair in a way that framed my face well, because I was scared. Like, I was like, what if I don't look good with short hair? So that was the biggest part. That was the biggest thing about my decision to go to a professional and a senior stylist. It was just to make sure that like my hair looked good. And she did a great job. She cut my hair in a way that like The shape was perfect. She told me like how it was gonna grow out, and that's exactly how it grew out. It started growing out into like a heart shape, which like framed my face perfectly as it was growing out. I never had like an awkward growth phase when my hair was growing back. So I wanted somebody that knew what they were doing. I made sure the person was knowledgeable with textured hair and they had good reviews, and I looked at their work. And so she did a great job on my hair. I loved it. I was a little shocked. I was just like shell shocked at first because all my hair was gone, but I ended up loving the cut. So that was a really big plus to seeing a professional. So second thing that I did to regrow my hair after my big chop was I created a regimen for my hair. How do you create a regimen? It's just trial and error. I started with designated wash days. I was washing my hair once a week. So for me that was shampoo and deep conditioner. And I'm talking a deep treatment mask, so not just like a regular conditioner. I was using deep treatment masks on my hair every week. At that time, I was using a lot of Shea Moisture at that time, so some of my favorites for deep treatment masks were the Jamaican Black Castor Oil treatment mask. There is a shea butter, I think it's a raw shea butter deep treatment mask, and then also Manuka honey deep treatment masks, and those were kind of my go-tos for a long time while I was regrowing my hair. And then I would just use a leave-in conditioner and a gel, and those are what I was experimenting with a lot at the time. I was experimenting with different leave-ins, different gels, different combinations as far as what worked together, different techniques, raking, shingling, finger coiling. I learned that I did not like creams because they were not doing it for me. I went through a little DIY phase of making my own flaxseed gel, which was great. The flaxseed gel is super healthy. Obviously, it's a two-ingredient product. You're not getting the preservatives and additives and stuff that, you know, products on the shelf have. And my hair looked amazing. I would get a lot of compliments on it, and it was great. I just couldn't keep up with making it every single week. It's a lot of work to make your own products. Same thing with like rice water. Some of my favorites during this time, as far as gels, would definitely be the Kinky Curly Coil Sculpting Custard. I believe that's what it's called. That was great. That worked really well for me for a long time. That paired with the Kinky Curly leave-in conditioner, Not Today, which is still my favorite leave-in conditioner. That was my go-to for a long time. Curls had their Blueberry Bliss collection. I used to love the leave-in and the gel from that collection. They did wonders for me. Those were some of my go-tos, but I used to experiment with a bunch of different products. So my point is, you got to figure out what works for not only your hair, but like your life, your schedule. I mean, YouTube is a great start, but ultimately it's really just trial and error that's going to teach you what your hair likes, what it doesn't like, and what works best. And that is a great segue into number 3. So the next thing that I did was I would stay away from products, and I still do, stay away from products with bad ingredients. I don't mean bad ingredients like someone said coconut oil gave them a bad reaction, so cancel coconut oil. I mean things that I researched that I determined were not safe for my hair or my body overall. I said that I did my own research because sometimes there could be a label on a product that it's not good because of XYZ, but that ingredient might be helpful in certain situations. We've talked about this with silicones, with sulfates. Sometimes you need them. And then I was using brands that were made for naturally curly hair. Not these generic brands that have been around for 30 years catering to the default straight hair, and all of a sudden now you want to come put coconut oil and shea butter in your products to try to capitalize off of the trend of people wearing their hair naturally. No, we're not doing that. So I've never looked twice at those kind of brands, but I more so focused on brands that were made for naturally curly hair. Not that those brands aren't capitalizing, but like those other ones, I'm not here for it. Number 4 on the list of what I did: no heat, no color, and no trims. Now, to be clear, I'm not against trimming your hair. It's necessary. I didn't get my first trim until close to maybe around 3 years after I initially big chopped. Now, I could have went sooner. I'm going to admit that. I definitely could have went sooner. But when you have virgin hair it's just growing. At least mine was. For a long time, the split ends did not come. Obviously, I was on a no heat journey. To be honest, I kind of had PTSD from the heat damage that I suffered before, but I learned along the way that, you know, heat is not the enemy. It's just improper use of heat that causes the damage, that you don't want to overdo it. So I wasn't using heat. I did not cut my hair for a long time because I didn't need to, but that timeline for cutting your hair is going to be different for everyone. You just kind of have to know when your hair needs that trim, when you see the split ends, the knots, all that stuff. It's probably time for a trim. I got my first silk press after a while because my first trim I did a curly cut and I still had a lot of split ends, so that's when I learned I gotta straighten my hair in order for all the split ends to be gone. That's just me. And then same thing for coloring my hair. I didn't want to risk the damage, or I didn't want to risk having to learn all over again how to deal with colored hair versus virgin hair, so I just didn't bother with it. At this point, I would like to put some color in my hair, but initially I didn't want to risk it. Okay, lastly, don't over manipulate your hair. Don't overthink the growing process. Just let it be. All I did were wash and goes. Like, that's it. And I kept my routine very simple. I styled my hair once a week and I left it alone. Maybe spray or refresh midweek if I needed to, but I usually didn't. And then that was it until I washed it again. I didn't do like braid outs and twist outs and stuff like that because for me it only lasted 2 or 3 days and then I would have to style my hair again. So that didn't work out for me. I just did wash and goes and it would last me like 5 to 7 days until I washed my hair again. I didn't even do a protective style for maybe like 2 years after my big chop. So for me, the best thing was to just leave it alone. And again, don't overthink it. I just want to share a few things that I learned along the way on my healthy hair journey, just in case you are considering doing the big chop, or if you just cut all your hair off, or maybe if you're just trying to grow your hair out. Some things to remember. As far as a big chop goes, the things you did before your big chop may not work after your big chop. And it depends on the state of your hair. For me, I had to figure out all new products, new techniques. I was dealing with a completely new head of hair that I had never dealt with before. So you're just really learning your hair all over again. And again, the stuff that worked before, it may not work after, which is okay. For example, in the year prior to my big chop, when I was not using heat on my hair and I said that it was damaged, I couldn't really do much without putting heat on my hair, I used to do these flexi rod sets, and that was my bread and butter, okay? For a long time. Like, it was the only style that I could get my hair to look good in and not have to put heat on it. And like, that was just my go-to. My options were so limited. After I cut my hair off, I could not do a flexi rod set to save my life. It just was not working the same way. And I realized it's because I had damaged hair. I was working with a different texture versus afterwards working with my new texture. Had to make some changes. The other thing that I learned on this lovely little journey is just because her hair looks like mine does not mean that her products and her techniques are going to work for me. We are all guilty of doing this, getting on YouTube or Instagram and seeing someone with hair that looks just like yours, and then you run out and buy the exact products that they use in their hair. And I just, after so many times, I learned it's not that simple. There are so many other factors, and your hair may not always look like, you may not always get the results that you see someone else get with certain products. And it's nothing to be disappointed about. Again, figuring out what works for you. And the last thing that I learned on this journey, which we probably do not talk about enough when it comes to growing your hair, and that's genetics. Genetics plays such a huge role in what your hair looks like, how your hair grows, the rate that your hair grows. So don't be discouraged if you see someone with super long hair or hair that grows really fast, or it seems like their hair grows really easily, like they don't have to do much, because you're only stressing about things that you cannot control. So meet yourself where you are and love your hair in every phase that it's in. So that's it. Those are just 5 things that I did to regrow my hair after my big chop, and some of the things that I learned along the way. Hopefully you found this helpful. Again, if you are thinking about cutting all your hair off, do it. Thank you so much for watching. If you would like to see more of my videos, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye.